Good morning everyone, I am Dr. Lokesh Gupta. Welcome to my YouTube channel Research Short Video. Today we are talking about the step of test development. A step of test development. Test development is not a easy process. It will take time if you want to develop some psychological test, and you have to follow the basic steps. In few book you find there are 5 or 6 steps, but yes, in the book compromise 2 or more than 2 steps, but yes, finally there are 8 steps we have to follow for the development of some psychological psychometric test. So first one is the planning about the test, second one is the designing and writing items, third one is the designing and scoring responses, fourth one is the preliminary tryout or administration, fifth one is the collecting data for reliability and validity, and sixth one is the establishing reliability and validity, seventh one is the norms of the final test, and last and the eighth one is the manual writing and the publication. Now we discuss all these steps in detail. First one is the planning about the test. Planning basically includes so many things, but yes, one of the significant important part of planning about the test is identifying the construct and operationally define the construct which you want to develop a scale or test. And the second important part is the nature of the item or the content to be included in the test. You have to decide at the time of the planning what type of item you want to include and what type of content you want to include for the test, and the type of instruction. It may be verbal, it may be non-verbal, gestures level, or it may be pictorial level. So you have to decide the type of instruction you want to give for your subject, and the method of sampling. You have to decide what type of population and you want to develop that skill. So you have to decide the method of sampling techniques as well, and probably the time limit you want to give for your subject, and the statistical method you want to opt for the reliability and validity, all these things. So at that initial level you have to decide all these things, or the preliminary and final administration of the test, because the next step of test construction is the administration or tryout. So basically you have to decide the arrangement for the preliminary or final administration of the test as well. And the second step of test construction is designing and writing item. So whenever you go for the second step, you have some basic knowledge about the subject matter. Not the basic knowledge, you have to thorough knowledge about the subject matter. For these things it's better you collect some review literature for that particular variable you want to develop your test. And then within that designing and writing item, you have to remember a lot of things, but yes, another important part is the awareness of person or subject to whom you want to develop that test. So knowledge about the scenario of your subject is very important. Third one is the familiarity with different type of item along with their advantage and disadvantage. There are different type of format generally we use for the test development. Maybe Likert scaling, maybe yes no format, maybe unfavorable, favorable. Sometimes it may be open-ended, or sometimes it may be close-ended, sometimes it may be pictorial. So you have to decide, you have to familiar with the different type of items and their advantage and disadvantage, and then you have to select what type of format you want to use for your test development. And the next one is large vocabulary. Yes, you have large vocabulary about that particular area, particular scenario, and using different meaning words you use for the development of that test. And last step of item writing is submit to a group or judge or expert for their criticism and the suggestion, and you try to incorporate all these suggestion and the criticism given by your experts or judges if you find it necessary. So all these things should be included in our writing item. And step number 3, Designing and scoring responses, yes, on the basis of nature of item you have to decide. Sometimes it may be open-ended responses you get, and you have to convert these open-ended responses into a on the basis of some predefined scoring procedure. Sometimes you have close-ended like dichotomous responses, yes no and checklist type of responses, and sometimes you have multiple choices. You have distractor, guessing, omitted and partial credit response. So you have to decide the weightage of that partial credit, or you have to decide the key responses for your item. And the continuous response, sometimes you have continuous response in terms of filling the blanks and all this. So you have to decide the scoring procedure and the entire process, how you score that, how you convert your response, your subject response into the scores. And fourth step is preliminary tryout or administration. To this point, the construction of the test depend on theory. Yes, initial things is obviously based on the theory, but previous empirical and subjective judgment based on the prior experience and knowledge. So before that step, all the things is based on theory and our empirical works. But yes, next step involve the administration of the test to an appropriate sample or samples. Sample should be closely watched the characteristic of the sample or sample in which you want to which test will be used. So you have to find that particular appropriate sample you want to use for the preliminary tryout or the administration purpose. And fifth step of test development is the actual data collection process for the reliability and validity. So at that time you have to decide the sample size, reliability, for the reliability and for the validity. There is thumb rule, most of the time minimum sample for the reliability and validity is not less than 300. Why we take 300 is a very important point. We take 300 sample because we are assuming if we take more than 300 sample, so we achieve our normality. So our basic purpose for that thing is we want to achieve the normal distribution curve because it's the representative sample. So, and another very important part is you have to decide at that stage criterion for the validity, which criterion you want to use for the validity purpose. And the sixth step of thing, after collecting that data for the reliability and validity, now you have to decide the establishing the reliability and validity on the basis of your pre-decided criteria. So on the basis of these things you have to decide the statistical analysis. Sometimes we use the correlation to establish the reliability. We use the coefficient of coefficient alpha, Cronbach alpha, but sometimes for reliability, validity, we use the factor analysis or the item response theory for reliability and validity, both the things. So these are the analysis generally we use in the establishment of our reliability and validity for the test. And norms of the final test after establishing the reliability and validity. Now we have to develop the norms. Norms is the test constructor also prepare the norms for the test. Obviously you have to prepare the norms because norms are the defined as an average performance or score of a large sample representative of a specific population. So we have to take, we have to select the representative sample, and we have to take the and develop the norms. And the last step of test development is manual writing and the publication. Extensive manual is also required for the test administration. If suppose the other one want to use your scale, so they have to follow the instruction manual mentioned in the manual. Except from this manual will vary considerably depending on the nature of the test, but most important information including the concern of the interpretation of the test score, in manual generally we have mentioned our technical qualities, technical things related like reliability, validity we have to mention. Sometimes we are not able to develop a test up to that mark, or we are not interested to publish that, but yes, sometimes we publish in a form of research articles. So in our research article we have to include all these things. So these are the important steps of test development. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any suggestion, any doubts, you can mention in comment box. If you like that video, please share this video with your classmates and friends. Thank you so much for watching.